Kent English editorial today looking at the 1974 ruling of the American Public Health Association versus Butz, B-U-T-Z. Butz was the Secretary of Agriculture of the USDA. And, really striking that the court ruled the wrong way and said that Salmonella is not an adulterant in food. It is a striking ruling that defies civilization. It defies shepherding. There's, E.O. Wilson, the late great E.O. Wilson, provided that there's 66 to 103 different shepherd traditions. There's, 65 to 102 of them that would disagree with the ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals in the District for Columbia. And so, Kent English, we have a magistrate judge system. We have a private system that's performed better, that uses medical science, uses medical scientists. We'd be delighted to hear this case. We know that Salmonella, how can we answer the question of if Salmonella is an adulterant in food if the word adulterant is the short robe barber phrase for what contamination is, or what a microbe is. The tragedy, of course, of this case having not been ruled the right direction is that, again, we add the rapid adjudication. It's been 1974 to 2023, and it hasn't been heard by the U.S. Supreme Court and needed to be. And again, we have a system of attorneys that don't have medical science training, don't take an interest in, again, this is a public health threat. The Bar Association does dismiss folks that are public health threats, but has not. There isn't a clear person accountable over picking up this ruling, and so we gladly pick that up here at Kent English. There's good reason if you study the history of the United States Department of Agriculture, you'd learn that Salmonella was isolated in its labs. That's what the U.S. Department of Agriculture does, and so the Secretary of Agriculture is accountable over eradicating that illness. We come from the tradition of Louis Pasteur. We come from the tradition of Edward Jenner. We come from the tradition of trying to eradicate disease and illness, suggesting that Salmonella, which was discovered by the USDA, and is something the USDA is accountable for, doesn't have to do anything about Salmonella because it's not an adulterant, as if adulterant was the, was the standard. Adulterant isn't the standard. The standard is, does it make people sick? Yeah. Salmonella is part of, 31 WHO proven contaminants that, which there's 31, microbes, Salmonella on down, that need to be eradicated because they cause 600 million or more food-borne illnesses every single year the world over. And our food system isn't safe until we eradicate Salmonella. And so this fourth branch of the United States government that, doesn't have clear articulation, on behalf of, all the physicians, all the medical scientists, both, I know that I'm speaking on behalf of all of us, that we're overturning the United States Court of Appeals, District of Columbia decision from January 22, 1974. Salmonella is a contaminant. It's a disease. It was found at the USDA. The Secretary of Agriculture has to be accountable of eradicating disease. I know that the USDA originates from one of our shepherd traditions, Salmonella. Dr. Salmon himself was a veterinary surgeon at the USDA, and it's the USDA can get back to its good shepherd tradition. For those of us in the other 65 to 102 shepherd traditions, we don't need to obey that ruling from the district court, not even in the district itself. Those that are, any nation state of shepherds, whether they be Christians or not Christians, we don't have to obey dumb rulings from untrained people that are wearing black robes. Those are our shepherd robes. the court got it wrong in 1974. Nobody even looked at it. You haven't seen a major effort to even have it looked at. We don't need to put any trust in bar association attorneys anymore, and we need to have a system of government in that fourth branch that's built on medical science, built on evidence. And this ruling was wrong in 1974. I know we can get it right. And again, so the Butz decision here in Kent English with the magistrate judge system overturns the ruling that Salmonella was not an adulterant. Salmonella is a contaminant. It's a bacteria. The USDA know it's a bacteria. People can sue the USDA to get Salmonella out of our food. And there's very few other institutions that can. But again, Americans don't have to obey that decision anymore.